Hello and welcome to Face Check. I'm Barry and this is Netrunner. Indeed it is round 2 of the summer game night kit held at Wayland Games on August 15th. Packs are legal up to Old Hollywood and you're watching me on the left as Noise, facing off against Tim on the right as Blue Sun Wayland, no relation to the game store itself. Before we start, I just want to give a shout out to the people on Facebook and Reddit that have given me some feedback on my videos. I've tried to crop in closer, however I'm not sure what this will do to the aspect ratio when I compile it. If it all goes wrong, I'm blaming you guys, and if it goes well, then I will marvel at my own technical genius. I'll also ask if people can let me know whether they want subtitles for my video, not just because of my accent, but also whether they need them for accessibility reasons. I'm all for making Netrunner as accessible as possible, and this includes those with hearing difficulties that like to watch the videos. However, this will definitely slow down the production rate as I'd have to type them all in manually. The automatic captioning by YouTube at this point is still pretty terrible. I'm looking into options, but if anybody's got any ideas or suggestions for how I can do that, I'm very much open to the idea. Any other criticisms or suggestions are welcome in the comments. It's the only way to get better in my mind, and I definitely want to keep progressing and getting the best possible content out there for you guys. So, into the game. Tim and I have played a number of times, although at this point I'm not sure if he's a kill death stabby Blue Sun or maybe a vegan boot camp glacier. I'm obviously not unhappy with my hand, so I might be mulliganing for I for worse in order to survive any murder attempts by him. Though as I don't necessarily run, it'll be much harder for him to land a tag with C-Source or mid-seasons me if I score all 7 agenda points in archives in one turn. I definitely want to start with draw in my hand, or very least wild side. A wild side adjusted chronotype start's quite good, certainly if you can precede it with a sure gamble. But I also run inject and I've had worse. A lot of people have swapped inject for street peddler, but I don't necessarily agree with that choice. There's often one-offs in my deck that I want to keep. So Tim has started. He's played Curtain Wall and Oversight AI for a credit. Using his Blue Sun ID, he's going to pick it back up and get 14 credits next turn. I'm trying to keep up, and that wasn't an inject that I played to begin with. I trash a cash, which would also be money, but not the worst thing in the world. But I do pick up 2 sure gambles, and I play them both, getting up to 13 credits. So I'm not too far behind in the economic war, and that's another way of not dying to Wayland kill decks. If you can stay ahead of them in money, their traces won't land. I'm not running any Plascretes or any other sort of meat damage avoidance, so can't rely on those to keep me alive. Instead I'll just have to rely on my wits and deck construction abilities, so I'm pretty much doomed. Tim, as suspected, picked up that Curtain Wall, very possibly put it back down over R&D, now he can afford to res it the hard way. And I'm feeling particularly bold as I've just played I've Had Worse to get more card draw. I'm really fishing for Wild Side, Adjusted Chronotype, Aesops, and probably some viruses. There I run Archives for the early doors Hades install. Hades Fragment lets me access Archives at any time or any paid ability window. Then I install Autoscriptor because I had quite a lot of money. Install Gravedigger for free, and then install Aesops, going to sell Gravedigger. Unless something gets trashed, but highly unlikely. So if he does have C-Source Scorch, I'm probably dead. In fact, if he has C-Source Scorch, I'm probably dead. I'm not sure how many cards I finish with in hand. But at this point, it's quite early doors, and most Wayland kill decks are running mid-seasons over C-Source. The runner's got too many ways of avoiding that first kill, and just getting rid of one tag. It really requires having a 3-card combo in hand at one time, whereas mid-seasons, you only need 1 card. You can let them steal an agenda, land a buttload of tags that they can't get rid of, and then just go fishing for your other pieces. So I think Tim's going for the quick score again. Again, it's the right thing to do against Noise. Even if you think he can get in you have to go for it. You can't really let him just sit and build up the way that my deck does. So he's installed and advanced. I've got my draw engine up and running now. That's wild side adjusted chronotype. I get 2 cards at the start of each turn. I've also got Shahrazad down, which makes every program I install on it 1 credit less, or at least I get 1 credit back for it. And he's just scored an over advanced Project Atlas. For every advancement token over the minimum 3 for Project Atlas, it gets a power token on it when it's scored. And you can then use that token to go fish out any card you want from R&D. That means that he's going to have the ability to go fetch Scorches or mid-seasons pretty much on demand. However, I'm looking quite good again. I've just installed 2 caches, taking my money back up. I'm going to sell them to Aesops, and really my train's about to get rolling as well. So still everything to play for at this point. Even if he goes to fetch another Atlas, which might be the right move, I'm still going to continue just sort of milling cards away. If I have a Faust in hand, then perhaps I can get in, and maybe that's a risk. But if that's a big enough piece of ice, if that is a curtain wall, very difficult for me to get through, I'm only running 1 David to let me through the bigger pieces of ice. And here Tim's kind of threatening that it could be another agenda. He's installed, but not advanced this time. Maybe he doesn't need to. It could be another 3-2. But I'm going to continue just playing as many viruses as I can and getting as much money as I possibly can. Now my game plan at this point is really just to get enough money so it's almost safe for me to run. With Wayland being able to pick their ice back up, it doesn't really cost them anything to get through ice. But similarly, or to res ice, sorry, at least 1 piece. But similarly with Faust, it doesn't cost me anything to break it. I'm only using cards from hand rather than money. So that's a big way that Weyland get their economic swing. They'll res a big bit of ice. The runner has to pay a lot of money to get through it. They then pick up that bit of ice, getting all their money back. And then sea source or mid-seasons to land the tags that they need. I'm assuming he's possibly running Hostile Takeover. That's a 2 advanced agenda for 1 point. Also gains you 7 credits though, so whereas normally scoring an agenda is an economic tempo hit, scoring Hostile Takeover is quite good. And again, against noise decks where the bad pub's not going to come into play very much, that can go quite well. So there I inject again. I'm really just drawing through my cards. What I really want to do is cycle through my whole deck, play as many viruses as I can, get all the parts that I need, and then start going for it really. So I'm not sure what click I was on there, but I did install Rachel Beckman. Rachel Beckman was a big credit investment, 8 credits there, taking me well down into sort of tag landing territory. Additionally, the worst thing about Beckman is if you do get a tag, she immediately trashes. So here I'm hoping there's no scored, there's no posted bounty down. That's a 3-1 Wayland agenda, which you can forfeit when scored to give the runner a tag. Still, I'm obviously quite confident that I can get my money back up in time. And as I said, I don't need any money for breaking ice. Faust lets me instead use cards from hand to pump strength and break. Subroutines. Tim's res and popped a Jackson already. Now with the Hades on board, it's very risky letting 7 points worth of agendas sit in archives. I can pop it at any time. You know, if you were to over advance with Jackson, discard his agendas thinking they're safe, and not immediately pop them, then I could always use Hades Shard, so trash ability, and remove from game. No, not remove from game, telling you lies, just trash ability to access archives at any time. I'm not happy with Tim shuffling there. I'm pretty sure he just stacked the deck, so I elected to shuffle before giving it back. I think more it's to make a point. He didn't offer me the cut. Something in tournaments you should always do, even in friendly, is allow your opponent to shuffle and or cut your deck. I believe in Magic the Gathering tournaments it's mandatory, your opponent must shuffle your deck. But then again, I've not played for 15 years, so I don't really remember. So here he installs R02M Renovation and advances it, which gives him money again. Again, an agenda that scoring doesn't take the tempo hit. But with Faust down, it only cost me 2 cards to get in and steal it. Now, whether he knows that and he's going to go for the mid-seasons here, I'm not sure. But I can't let him score another 2 points, taking him to 4, because then he would just be 1 3-pointer away from victory. And if I'm unable to get into that server that he builds to hold that 3-pointer, that'll be all over. So again, I'm just installing cards, gaining money. I've deja vu'd for those caches back, which I installed again. I get 4 credits each time I install one. It costs me nothing to install. For Scheherazade gives me the credit back. Grimoire gives it an extra token. And I immediately take the 4 credits worth off. Now, I've ran archives there. I've stolen another agenda, taking me to 4 points. Punitive here could be problematic for me. Similarly, there's a lot of cards in Wayland that will punish you for stealing their agendas. I think perhaps my stacking of programs might have confused Tim a little bit. I put them all like that because they're all hosted on Scheherazade, but it is quite easy to forget that a particular card's there. So I think he had Lotus Field down thinking it would protect him. But in reality my Faust got through. So having stolen 2 agendas, here comes the mid-season. He picked Lotus Field back up to give him the credit advantage that he needs. And now he's going to work out what he needs to spend to land the tags on me. This is click 1, he'll have 2 clicks after doing it. If he can land 2 or more tags, he can play Traffic Accident into Scorch. Assuming he has enough money left after landing the tags. If you have both those cards in hand, it's always best to do it that way. Traffic Accident has a lower percentage chance of hitting Ifad Worse, allowing the runner to draw back up. And Scorched Earth will check how many cards are in your hand for the flat line before actually dealing the damage. Well, any damage works that way. But it's more likely to get the kill using Traffic Accident, Scorched Earth combo. Now, Tim bankrupts himself landing these. He's gone up to 20, a trace 20. I can get 14, I can pay for 14, which will leave me with 6 tags, but I'm never going to clear them. So I take the full 20 and hope I can use my economic edge to win. Tim's taking a credit again. After bankrupting himself, he didn't have enough money left to actually play any of the damage cards. So now the clock is very much on me. I know he's a kill deck now. There's no reason really to run mid-seasons otherwise, unless he's going to psycho graphics out a government takeover, but very unlikely. And certainly not after spending all his money. So now I'm just trying to find agendas. I've turned into running noise. At least in part. As long as I can keep him poor enough that he can't double scorch me, I should be okay. So I'm keeping... I've got an Ifad Worse in hand at the moment. And you see there I elected to imp an ice wall. It's actually, the cheaper ice is the better for me to imp things that he could res and keep me out or cost me cards, or things that I don't want him to have. But then I hit the Lotus Field again, and I don't think he's got any other agendas in hand, so I'll just go back to my usual shenanigans of playing viruses and milling cards. So Tim's kind of on the back foot here. He's got enough money to kind of get a Scorch off, but he can't protect anything else, and things are relatively dangerous. I choose to imp a Caduceus there, which if nothing else lets me see another card on the top of R&D. I make sure he's not trying to sneak any agendas out. Check the remotes. But yeah, as long as I can keep Tim poor, then not a huge amount of bad things can happen to me. With one I've had worse in hand, I've got a very good chance of surviving a Scorch attempt or a double Scorch attempt. But even for that, he would need 6 credits, which he doesn't yet have. So I've checked everywhere. I know he's not got a lot in the way of agendas in hand or money cards, but he's now managed to get an oversight AI on Curtain Wall. Now he's going to pick that up next turn and get himself 14 credits, which makes everything much more dangerous. I don't have my David in hand. I'm only running a single David, so I have no real way of busting that down. I mean, if I thought about it, I could perhaps spend all my cards to do so, but then with 3 credits I could still be scorched the next turn. So that's one of the downsides to Faust. Once you're tagged, you have to be very careful about cards in hand. Now there, a deja vu for an I've had worse, which Tim sees and he kind of groans. And bear in mind, I already have an I've had worse in hand. I'm really determined to not get killed here. If he does it, he's probably going to hit at least one, which will be enough to survive a double Scorch. So he will need, unless he hits both, in which case I can survive a double Scorch and a traffic accident. So very difficult for him to actually kill me. And I'm going to continue with my mills. I played 2 parasites there on Curtain Wall. I knew fine well it was going to get picked up and trashed. I did it for the mills and just because I had them in my hand and wanted to get rid of them. So now Tim's got 17 credits and I am in danger territory. He's only got, I think, 1 Scorch in hand maybe. But he does still have that Project Atlas token, which will let him go fetch another if he wants to give it a try this turn. But he does know that I've picked up the I've had worse. So he's going to have to figure out the best way of really making sure that it lands and kills me. Now I believe he's running 3 Scorched and maybe 1 or 2 traffic accidents. I'm not entirely sure what's in archives at this point. He does indeed use the Atlas token to go get the Scorch. I have to assume he's got 2 in hand. 1 Scorch is definitely not going to kill me. I have 5 cards in hand. I make sure I'm not going below 5 at the end of any turn. There, I'm still obviously unhappy with Tim shuffling and give it a little cut myself. I make a run on that remote. It's Contract Killer, I think. I can't remember. He didn't show the camera. He definitely puts one of them down at some point, but never advances it enough to be able to bother me. Now again, Tim's moneying up. It doesn't really need to. With all the tags, all of my resources are vulnerable. The corporation for an action can spend 2 credits in 1 click to trash a resource when the runner is tagged. I've still got my Hades shard out, and that will allow me to access archives, as I said, at any point. If he were to trash adjusted chronotype, I'd be down to 3 clicks, and that would really slow me down as well. If he were to get rid of Aesop, then it would slow down my money. And now that he's kind of credits up, that may be something that he's considering doing. Now drop a David. I know it's a curtain wall in front of, or at least I assumed it was a curtain wall in front of R&D. It's actually a hive. I don't particularly want to break all 3 subroutines. It would take 4 cards with Faust to get through. I do have data sucker tokens, so I could get through for 3, but definitely not worth it to see 1 card. So I'll let that go. Tim's down to quite a low number of cards now. He either needs to figure out how he's going to kill me or start scoring a lot more quickly. I only need to see 1 more agenda. Any agenda out of Wayland will do it. There's no 0-point agendas in Wayland decks. Additionally, even if there were, I could possibly play Turntable you sell Grimoire, install Turntable, and steal his Project Atlas. So it might sound like a fairly janky combo, but with noise, you'll find that the Corp has plenty of time to score. They'll often take the opportunity to to score a 3-pointer behind a couple of big pieces of ice, and not worry about their 1-point and 2-point agendas. I'm happy with that, because my end game action is to sell Grimoire, install Turntable, and steal those 1- and 2-point agendas, and then trade them up for a 3-point agenda. So there I make that run on that remote, which I thought was a contract killer, and this time it definitely was. So I got rid of him. Contract killer, not a card you see too much of. If the Corp double advances it, they can res it and then click to do 2 meat damage, I think, or 3 meat damage, or trash a resource. I'll need to look it up. As I said, it's not so common that I know what it does off the top of my head. And then by trashing it, I got a token on Gravedigger, which I used to mill another card, and then I came into HQ last turn, so only needed to spend 1 card because I didn't care about the lost click. There he power shutdowns for 0 after running. Now everything was hosted on Scheherazade, so that's the end of my rig pretty much. Here I joke that I'm just going to levy next turn anyway, so it was a good time for it, which I think which is exactly what I'm going to do, but I don't know if Tim then thought he's going to have to go for the kill. He's not finding his other Scorch. It might be in the archives already. He's not finding his traffic accident to do the small mill, and I definitely can't let 1 more turn go because there's not enough cards in my my stack. So here comes in, click 2, second Scorch, on the 3rd card hits I've Had Worse, and on the 4th card hits I've Had Worse, but I've only 3 cards in my stack, so I've gone back up to 4 cards, but that's it, that's all my cards. So Tim decides that you have a much better chance of killing me if I don't have any cards, uses the 2nd Scorch to take me down to none, but has left a same old thing on the table, so clicks 1 and 2, I same old thing to levy, and get a handful of cards back. Now that's what same old thing's there for. Had he trashed it before now, then I would have been pretty much screwed. I'd have to try and get into archives without any cards. A very difficult thing to do. And no breakers, no cards, no rig. But after levying, I draw back up. Tim's decided that he can't actually kill me anymore. He's not going to be able to score out in time, and so concedes the game. So that was quite a well pressured game from me. I know, phenomenal. Thank you very much. But Tim also played that very well. He perhaps should have. He didn't recognise the combo for the same old thing into levy, and additionally perhaps could have tried to score out a little quicker using Project Atlases into Project Atlases, and that would have probably spelt the end for me because it was quite late in the game by the time I saw Faust or even or especially David. So again, it's a risk. There's a couple of types of noise. Noise may run very aggressively, looking to trash ice, Parasite, Data Sucker, Faust as well, and he wasn't to know. But then again, I have been milling cards for the last year and a half at least, and we have played many times, but all in all a very good game, and could have went either way. Anyway, thanks for sticking with it, and please again subscribe, like, leave any comments and suggestions. I'm going to try and get another couple of videos up today and continue from there.